good morning. Welcome to Cooking with Andrea. Today we're going to be making homemade flour tortillas. My mom or my grandmother made this a long time ago. It has been in our family for a very long time. I'm not crafty like that. I'm a bowler. But my mom and my grandma, they could sew like no tomorrow. So we're going to get started. We're going to make some flour tortillas today because I've got a lot of things in my freezer where I made some chilies, red chili, green chili, and stuff like that. So we're going to get started. I have 2 cups of flour in. I'm going to put the half cup, so it's 2.5 cups of flour. So I'm going to go ahead, get that in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the salt in. It's a teaspoon and a half of kosher salt, and we grind ours pretty fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this in. And then I'm going to go ahead and give a mix. Get it just incorporated. These tortillas are super easy. I make tortillas 2 ways. Sometimes I put baking powder in them, and sometimes I don't. These ones I'm not going to. These will be a little bit thinner, not so dense. But I grew up making tortillas the other way because that's how my abuelita taught me to do it. And then my mom, oh man, I tell you, I can make a mess real fast. Spread the flour all over my shirt. Holy Toledo, and obviously I always wear black, so you know it's going to show 10 times more. But this is how my mom and my abuelita used to do it. And then one day I was thinking, okay, let's practice. I watched some videos, and I realized people don't always use baking powder. Okay, so it's all incorporated. Okay, so one thing I did do, though, is I do use lard. You can use, like, canola oil, butter, stuff like that. But I still go back and I use traditional lard. But you use a half a cup of lard. I finally got tired of putting in this little measuring cup, and I took it out of the measuring cup and I weighed it. It's 3.6 ounces, so that you do not have to stuff it in this little container. You're good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start breaking up my half a cup of lard. I use Farmer John, I use Manteca, and that's about the only 2 we have here in Nevada. There's a lot in other cities, states. Some have different kinds of lard, different brands. That's about the 2 we have. So I use Farmer John or Manteca, whichever one I can get for a better price, because I don't have any problem with any of them. And so I put lard in quite a few things because, you know, I was reading about, you know, they used to say animal fat was not good for you, but, you know, I don't know. I use it. You know, I try not to use too much oil anytime unless I'm specifically frying or something. Then most of the time I use a canola oil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pastry utensil here, and I'm going to go ahead and start mixing it like this to incorporate the flour and the lard together. And then what I'm going to do is take my fingers eventually, and then we're going to smush it together because you want it to be like little pea balls is kind of like what it looks like. It's going to be all nice and put together. Typical pastry looking dough, you know, or flour dough. And then that's when we'll put the water and we'll be good. But first you got to incorporate everything. But boy, the tortillas, they come out so good. Oh my gosh, I love tortillas. I grew up eating tortillas, and I was a picky kid when I was little. I didn't want nothing. I didn't like anything. So my grandmother, she used to always give me tortillas because I would eat the tortillas. I like bread. I've always liked bread. You know, and so she would give me tortillas, and the way she used to make her so fat, oh, they were so yummy. I could make 2 tortillas out of one. I would take the tortilla and split it down the middle, and just, it would be so good. And I put butter on them. Oh my gosh, so good. But like I said, I'm bad. I like breads and doughs and things like that. I make empanadas. Oh man, I'm bad. I don't make too many corn tortillas. You know, I make more flour tortillas than I make corn. But we grew up eating more flour than corn. But like for tacos and stuff, I do use corn a lot. And all my enchiladas, I use corn. But when I was a kid, my mom used to make half our enchiladas with flour tortilla and half our enchiladas with corn tortilla. So I like corn tortillas, but I think I do much better in flour. Can't always be talented in everything. I probably just need to practice more, Okay, so what I'm doing is just pinching the dough together, incorporating the lard so that everything rolls out evenly. I don't have big hunks of lard and certain things. And you can tell when it's ready. The dough will totally, it'll just come together perfect and you'll be able to see it. But like I said, this is actually the hardest part of the whole thing, in my opinion, is getting everything. But I like mine very well mixed. And like I said, we don't eat a lot of tortillas. It's so funny, sometimes I'll cook things that are really high in fat, or, they're, oh wow, that's some carb there, or that's some, fat in there. But it's so funny, you don't really eat those things all the time. At least I don't, not anymore. We eat tortillas not very often. Just when I'm making tacos or fajitas. Most of the time when I do eat a wrap, though, a tortilla, it's a wrap. Like, it'll have turkey, ham, lettuce, tomato on it. And then I don't even use any dressing in mine. So that's why I say it's good food, though. And I feel if you can make it from scratch, it's good food. Because it's not so processed. But everything is processed in this world. I'm never on a kick. I say you enjoy what you eat. Cook for your family. Enjoy. For us, having a meal is when we sit down and talk and enjoy each other. And it's so funny. We have a big, beautiful table. Sometimes we just sit on the couches and we have trays and we just sit there and talk. That's what life's about. Life is short. Enjoy. And be thankful for everything you have, because, at the end of the day, we have a lot. Even when we think we don't, we do. So just enjoy it. Okay, my dough is almost ready. Oh my gosh, it looks good. Now see the difference between the dough? Before it was just flour. Now it's dough. And I also have a cup of flour reserved over there, because that's the most I can use if my dough is not formed the way I want it. And that's what I always do. I always keep 1 cup. Sometimes I use it all, sometimes I don't. But I do use 99% of it. Okay, my dough's perfect. There's your hard work. Now it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take, and we have a whole cup of warm water, which I heated it up. And we're going to take and use half of it. And I'm going to start mixing. I only do half at a time, or maybe a little bit under. And then normally I take the fork and do it this way, but I'm just going to use my hand today, because I can do a wash real fast. But I just want you to see, just to get in there and to see how it looks. So this is what I do, is just start squeezing it together, because I want it to get formed like that. It's going to be like paste, but it should come off your fingers pretty good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the rest of the water. I may do it, I'm just going to add it all, because that's what I normally do. I don't get fancy. I don't do it 2 and 3 times. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fork, because this is where I have the most of my liquid, and then I'm just going to mix it in like that. And then I'm going to turn and put some flour in here, and then I'm going to start rolling it out, kneading it. Yep. And I want it to look like that. I want it to look like kind of like a mush. That's what I want. I want to get that water warming that lard and getting those salts activated. Okay, I'm just going to move my mess over like this. And honestly, I normally roll on my counter because that's just me. That's what I do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of it so I can start forming it because it's also really wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to form it in my bowl for a second and just mix it over, get it in. I didn't use that much, but like I said, I'm going to use it all. Okay. Now I'm going to put a little bit on my board here and just put it like that. I'm going to drop this here, squeeze a little bit out. I'm going to put a little bit more on. And I will have to change my black shirt because when we come back, after we let this rest for about, I always let mine rest for about 45 minutes. You only have to let it rest for about 30 minutes, but I always let mine rest 45. And I usually try and keep it in the warmest place of my kitchen, or I'll tell you a secret, we have a pellet stove. And a lot of times I'll take it over there and I'll put a towel on it. I don't always put a wet towel. You can put a wet towel. That's how I was taught to do it. Because my mom always used to wet a towel and put it over our dough, and then she put it by the oven or something, or have turned the oven on, and then she'll go from there. Okay, dough's starting to come real good. You want to just work this. You want to work this dough, because once you work it, honestly, and it all sticks together, then you just let it sit for 45 minutes, and then you come back and you start rolling your tortillas. And you can use a pin, a rolling pin, or my hubby bought me a little tortilla press, because when I make tortillas, I usually make a lot, so it's not like I don't make like 4 or 5. I make 20, and then we eat them. So this is what I'm doing, is just rolling it out, and look at how it's not sticky anymore. But you want to get all that lard distributed, and that's what I do, is I just work my dough. And I'm so blessed. They come out good all the time. My mom and abuelita had a good recipe. And then, like I said, I saw somebody not use the baking powder. And if I'm saying it wrong, because sometimes I get baking powder and baking soda mixed up, I just know which one to use when I go to the cupboard, And if I forget, because it's getting old, stuff is for the birds, then I just look at, my recipes that I have written or printed. I have what's called a recipe book that I've been collecting over the years because I love to cook. Like to eat too. Okay, so guess what? My dough looks really good. And I'm just working it. And people say don't overwork your dough too much. I agree with that. So, I could be overworking mine, but my tortillas do come out. And then what I do is I just form my ball. Like that, and it looks beautiful. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little cup I had here with the lard in it. I'm just going to go like this, and I'm going to wipe it on my hands like this, and I'm going to give a wipe in my bowl with my hands, and then I'm just going to pat my bread out, my tortilla dough, just like that. And look, it's beautiful. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put a towel over it and let it sit for 45 minutes. We'll be back. Welcome back. Okay, 45 minutes. Dough has the tortilla dough has risen a little bit, and guess what? Now what I'm going to do is just take little pieces, just start pinching them off like this. You can do it as big as you want or as small as you want. Doesn't make any big deal. It's your preference how big you want your tortilla. So I'm going to go ahead and pinch the rest of these off, and we're going to come back and they'll all be pinched off, and then we'll start rolling them out and cooking them up. We'll be back. Okay, welcome back. Okay, we have 12 little dough balls. My tortillas are going to be pretty small. There's 12 of them there's going to be, but they're delicious. And just so you know, I weigh on my dough. Now I can do it most of the time by just pinching off the balls, 2 ounces. You could do a little bit more if you wanted bigger tortillas, but you can also roll them thinner. I like my tortillas thinner. Except for sometimes, like when I say I add, the baking powder, and then it makes them a little bit more dense. But I like them. So I have my pan on. It's nice and hot. I already did 1 tortilla, rolled it out, and I already did one. So this is what it looks like. Look at that. So nice, And they fold right over. They won't break and crack on you. Okay, you can do it 2 ways. I rolled this tortilla out. I rolled this one out myself. I'm going to put it in the pan. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to cook this one. And then I took and I used the tortilla press my husband bought me. Because like I said, I would make a whole lot of fresh tortillas at once. So, to ball them up, get them ready, roll them out. It was a lot of work. And so what I used to do is just go like this. And he bought it for me when I was really making corn tortillas, because it wasn't as easy for me to make the corn tortillas as it was the flour, because I grew up making flour tortillas, not corn tortillas. So it was kind of interesting. So you can press them out like this. And all I did is took a Ziploc bag. A lot of people use saran wrap, but I always get it all mangled. So I just take a Ziploc bag and I just flatten them like this or roll them. It's up to you. It's really your preference. Like I said, most of the time I would roll them. The only thing is that sometimes my tortillas don't come out as brown, but who cares? It's a tortilla. After I do another one of these, I'll flatten another one and roll another one. And then what we'll do is we're going to try this tortilla, because you got the idea of how to flatten it. That's why I say, if you don't make tortillas and you want to try, buy one of these. It's worth it. Okay, so I want to show you how the tortilla is bubbling here. There's no oil in my pan, no nothing. What you do is when it starts to bubble, you take a peek. If you see brown spots like that, you flip that tortilla over, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Doesn't take very long to make the tortillas, to be honest. It takes probably about a minute. Maybe not even a minute. Once that little thing starts to bubble, we are good to go. So I'm going to peel this one off, because I always have one standing by. Because, tortillas take a minute. And I'm just going to put this one in my hand right here. And I'm going to take my little tortilla holder my mama and my abuelita gave me. Okay, the tortilla is fine. Look, it's done on both sides. That looks beautiful. That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Put that one right here in the pan. Let it do its thing. Look at these tortillas, are delicious. Oh, they're so soft. You can fold them. They don't break. Even when I put them in the fridge, because a lot of times when you buy store-bought tortillas, and sometimes your tortillas will break too, but when you buy them and you fold them, you know how they crack in the fridge? So that's why I learned how to make fresh tortillas. Well, I love to eat tortillas. That's really why I learned how to make them. But when I put mine in the fridge, they won't break. So I put that little dough ball down, just so you see. Press it. Take a look. I'm going to move my bag just a little bit so I can get a little bit bigger. I'm going to press it again. And then I'm going to leave it here for a second, and I'm going to trade. I'm going to take this dough ball, and I am going to roll. Just so you see. Just kind of smush it out like that. But this dough is so soft, you do not have to worry about working the dough. A lot of times when I make like papusas or something, I have to take and move the edges of the dough. Not with this dough. I'm not even going to flip my dough. I'm just going to turn my little mat. I'm looking at my tortilla too. That's in the pan. Just going to take a quick check right here. Oh, look at that. Look at the marks on it. That's a perfect tortilla. That's what you guys want. Those little marks are beautiful. And like I said, even when I'm first rolling dough, it takes me a minute to get them totally circular. If they complain because they're not perfect circular, then you tell them, okay, you don't get one of these delicious tortillas, because these are delicious. Okay, that's perfect. So what we're going to do is just put it in our little tortilla holder. Another thing you want to do is just get a paper towel or get a clean towel. I have towels that I don't use them for anything except for putting over my doughs like these. And how I know that I don't is I don't take the tags off. Because so I won't wash them, I won't wash them in the regular washer. I will actually, uh-oh, I got stickage here because I squeezed this one really thin on that side. But guess what? A tortilla is forgiving. It doesn't make a difference. Okay, so I have one rolled out too. We're going to get this one cooked, but I want to show you, this is how delicious they are and how easy they are. Super easy. And the more you roll those tortillas, oh my gosh, you'll get so much better at it. Roll them thin. You want them to be thin. I like my tortillas thin versus thick. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try this tortilla. It is that good. I'm going to put this butter on it. You can put honey. You can put whatever you want. But you know what? This is a treat. When I eat them like this is a treat. The reason I'm making them this way is we have some chili Colorado I made a couple weeks ago on the channel. We're going to have that for lunch today. And guess what? I am going to dip my tortillas in that chili Colorado. So delicious. They taste fantastic. Okay, that's perfect. We're going to flip it. Let it cook. Oh, look at these tortillas. They're so good. So, if you guys like the content, if you would please like, share, and subscribe, I'd be most grateful. I'll put the directions in, and I hope you guys all have a blessed week.